Welcome to Sprinkle with Hope podcast with your host, Jason. We are so excited to bring on with us our guest today, Margaret Alabi. Margaret, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, thank you. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to our audience so they can get to know who Margaret is just a little bit, your backstory, some history. Doesn't have to be anything elaborate, just kind of a little bit about you.
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, I'm an AT alien and I still live in the city of Atlanta. There are not too many original Atlantans left. So, I am one of the few left standing. I'm the firstborn of Nigerian immigrants. And that, in and of itself, is a whole nother story. I'm sure you'll invite me back to learn about that. But aside from that, I'm an pharmacist by training. And I say that because I've never dispensed a pill a day in my life, and I never, ever hope to. I have, yeah, like, no, seriously. I've always worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I was one of those people in school that caught on really quick. And I was like, you want to put me in a box and you want me to count 5, 10, 15, 20 pills every day? No, not going to cut it for me. I talk too much. I love to look good, and somebody's got to see all of this fashion. Like, working in a pharmacy was not going to be the deal for me. So, I'm also a fur mommy. I have two beautiful standard poodle puppies, and Belle and Bo are actually right here at my feet. So I hope that they will not try to announce themselves. Although Belle, she likes to make sure her voice is heard, so I'm hoping she'll keep it quiet today tonight. And yeah, I'm just a happy-go-lucky person. I love connecting with people. Ever since I was a child, I've been told that I have an amazing encourager quality, and it's something that just comes naturally to me. And as I've gone through life and had different life experiences, I've had to come to realize that some folks really don't like to be encouraged without asking you for encouragement. So I picked up a few skills along the way to just better help me understand how to serve the folks that I come across or whose lives I'm honored to be
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So do you do that? Like, do you coach that, or do you just is that just something you do on the side?
in. Right. Okay. Wow. So yeah, I actually do coach. I actually do coach. It is something that I do on the side, and it is
Okay.
something that I hope to be doing full time as we move into 2021. And interestingly enough, I decided to become a coach because of all of, like I said, just randomly encouraging people,
Hmm.
and I realized that. There's so much more that I can do to help people unpack whatever situations they're going through and really take their potential to real purpose and like the realization of whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. And it's funny that you asked that too, because as a good Nigerian girl, I listened to my mom. She was like, "You're going to pharmacy school," and I was like, "But I want to be a psychologist." And she was like, "Do what I say,"
Yeah.
in a very strong, Nigerian accent. And I was like, "Okay." So it's funny because I've always loved psychology, and coaching and psychology are akin, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Me and Shane naturally would like to end up doing that at some point, coaching some people and whatnot, just because we feel that, you know, helping people is an amazing thing, right? And you can probably attest to that. And helping them overcome challenges and difficulties in their life. I mean, that in and of itself is amazing, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to say something, and you're probably going to be like, "What, Margaret?" But I tell everyone this, and it's so funny because I had to come to the realization for me that while I enjoy, or like, because people's lives change based on certain conversations that we have, I'm doing it because I enjoy doing it. And not necessarily, like, the reality is I enjoy doing this. And so the coach program or coaching certification program I went through, I always say, like, if I never get a paid client or anybody to just look me up and say, "Coach me,"
Hmm.
what I learned in that program for me changed my life tremendously. I
Yeah.
mean, Oh my gosh. When you, like you and, Shane, you all know how to talk. We know what it is, right? But sometimes, like, when you put it on yourself, and that's what the coach program does for you, it's like, yeah, 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 you help everybody else, but let's help you. Okay, let's
Yeah.
bring it back to you. Oh my God, my life has never been the same. And it's funny because I have a peer coach, and she's like, I love coaching you because you coach yourself. And
Yeah.
that in and of itself is probably the light bulb that went off for me when I went through the coach training program, is that I gained I've always respected the individual, but I earned another level of respect for individuals because every single person has the answers within them to achieve whatever it is they want to do. Sometimes they just need someone to ask them the right questions.
Yeah.
And voila, the floodgates of wisdom and knowledge will just literally burst open for them. And they're like, thank you so much. And you're like, I just asked questions. You had,
Yeah.
like, you did the work. And that's the fun part.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we do have innately in it within us every answer to every question that we are looking for. It's just the to come in contact with the right person. Exactly, that you ask that right question to help that particular individual. Because let's face it, we all struggle, right? Every day we've got various things that we could have us get in our way and cause us to redirect us to a different direction. But um, you know, I don't let those things hold me back from reaching my true potential. And so I'm with you. I am completely with
Yes.
you.
It's interesting, right? Because so this week on my Instagram, I posted something and I said, the first post of the week was, I am pure potential. And I think a lot of times we forget what our own potential is. We forget that we're the only ones that get to define it. So, Jason, I love what you said. You're like, I'm not going to let this get in the way of my potential, which means that you clearly have a level of awareness that lets you know that now is the only time that exists. And so, my
Yep.
potential 2 seconds ago is not the same as my potential, as what my potential could be in this moment. And
Yep.
so, in this
Absolutely.
moment, I'm constantly tapping into my potential to achieve what I want to achieve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And I think going along with what you're saying, I think a lot of people know that, they just don't know it, meaning we have to unlock that secret within them. It's not that we did anything. We just said, "Hey, here's a secret. You have it in within you. You just need to figure it out for yourself." And I think that's awesome. So above the coaching and speaking and things like that, you've started your own company. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct. So the Pivot Consulting Group is an organization that I co-founded with my brother. So we started off completely different from where we are today. Like 3 years ago, David came to me. David is my younger brother, and he was like, "You are awesome at helping people articulate their seemingly infantile experiences into stories that help them pass an interview and get the job." He came to me specifically for that. He was graduating from school. He had reached out to the career center at his school and was getting nowhere. And I told him, I was like, well, yeah, I've had like pharmacy students calling me up from all over the US trying to ask me how to become a postdoctoral fellow. So just to take it back a tad, I actually started my pharmaceutical industry career as a postdoctoral fellow with one of the most competitive fellowship programs and the oldest fellowship program in the nation.
Mm.
And when I'm talking about competitive, like people were tripping people up in front, like as they were getting to the interview in front of like large groups of people, competitive. Like it's not a joke. Folks like would literally have meltdowns if they felt like they ruined their interview. Okay, it was that intense. So I would get calls from Black children, Indian, Asian, everybody across, like, Margaret, how do we get to where you are? And one of the things that helped me even pass the interview was a seemingly innocuous mentor relationship with a gentleman at Procter and Gamble. And the first thing he said, Margaret, you need to know your strengths. If you don't know your strengths, Margaret, you're not going to do well. And I was like, okay, tell me what I need to do. So I did that, and I learned the art of the interview from him. And it never left me. So I enjoy listening to people. I'm like, okay, that's a good story. Now here's how you set it up so that your interviewer will see that as a strength for you. And that's how the Pivot Consulting Group started. We literally just wanted to help people of color increase their hireable status. Like, and we realized that a lot of people don't get hired because not because they're not qualified, but because they don't know how to talk about all the good stuff that they've done. It's like,
Yeah.
you're not bragging, you're telling the truth, right?
Right.
And it was in that I realized, I was like, wow, I'm missing like a whole boat. I can help you get the job, but getting the job is quite different from staying on the job. And
Yeah.
there are a number of life experiences that we've all had, regardless of our race, that inform how we choose to show up. And sometimes we show up in a way that causes us to take things personally when they weren't necessarily meant to be personal.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm only doing half justice or even quarter justice by giving you interview skills. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So how do I help you do everything with a spirit of excellence or with a level of confidence that allows you to feel like, yes, I'm getting my due." And that's what said, okay, Margaret, let's go get some coach training because we can talk. I can tell stories all day. That's great. I can write stories for you. I can take your experience and flip it and say, okay, yeah, now say this and, but that's not going to help you really thrive. And that, I think, is the most important part of the life that we've been called to live, is one of thriving. Too many people are out here just trying to survive.
Yeah.
Yep.
I completely agree with that statement.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. I totally think that. And, me and Shane have said that before that, we feel like people are just living to live and not really enjoying the journey. And that's really it, right? I mean, this life is a journey. Why shouldn't we enjoy it? Why can't
Absolutely.
we? What's stopping us,
What's stopping us is, so I'm just going to speak about me, right? Because this
Sure.
is very, very, it's very dear to my heart. And I actually went out with one of my coach clients last night, and he was like, Margaret, you remember when I first met you, which was 2 years ago, strictly for career. And then I gave him some of my new training, right? He was like, thank you. But he was like, when I met you years ago, you talked about this thing called a love walk. How is your love walk going? And I told him, I said, you know what? First of all, I have to give credit where credit is due. I took that term from Joyce Myers. In 2009, I was still in pharmacy school. Like I said, I already knew what I wanted to do, but there, like, I wasn't enjoying my
Yeah.
life. And I knew that like really early on. Now, that's not to say that it got any better when I recognized it, but it's one of, like, the action of love probably is one of the easiest as well as most difficult muscles to exercise,
Mm-hmm.
especially depending on how long ago you last used it, or when you put
Yeah.
it into
Yeah.
work. And so here we are in 2020, and I can tell you for sure, like, I'm good. I'm still on my love walk, but when I started in 2009, it was really tough. So to answer the question about how come we're not in a place where we can really enjoy, is because we do, our society almost socializes us to believe that everything that we do is for everyone else. And so we're constantly giving, 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 burn, burn, tired, tired, drain, drain. And the idea of, okay, let me pour back into myself,
Yeah.
comes off as selfish. Like, how dare you not show up to the gathering
Right.
we're doing? And it's just like, wait, but I need to like reboost. I need to re-energize. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yes, like people know about yoga, they know about meditating, but even that turns into like a competition. It's like, how many minutes did you meditate today?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not meditating for you.
This is for me.
It's for me. Chill
Yeah.
out. And so I think that's a major part of why a lot of us find ourselves in a place of just surviving is because we believe we're doing whatever we've come to do for other people.
Hmm.
But if we were to flip that equation around and really talk to, well, why do you enjoy doing this for you? Some people will say, well, you know what, I never really liked doing this. I did this because, I thought that, and it's like, well, you don't have to do it because I thought you did it because you were enjoying it. I never asked you to do it. Right. So
Right.
it's that simple, like, missing communication that has us doing a lot of things or presenting in ways that are not authentic or unique to us, but because we believe that that's what society or the people in our lives want, we're constantly putting on this front, which, you know um it's a toughie because I feel like a lot of people are carrying like all these masks, and it's like, which mask am I going to pull out right now? And
Yeah.
again, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so it's entering into a love walk is really about accepting you for you, and like fully accepting you for you, meaning no judgment, no um honestly, like, don't think about anybody else in the moment. Like, seriously, think about you and what makes you happy, because the happier you are, the happier people around you will be, because you show up in fullness and you just have this aura about yourself that you're not depending on other people to create for you, because like, and you can always go and get a bag of, get your little bag of sunshine to bring with you everywhere, because you're generating it. You're not doing things so other people could to see a smile on someone else's face. I think we work the equation backwards too many times, and it puts us in that place of, okay, survival mode. So when somebody does something that you don't like, or they show a lack of appreciation, you snap. And it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
here, So yeah, I'm a huge proponent. And that's something in the latter half of my love walk that I came to realize. And I had to say, okay, this works for you. And I appreciate that you're offering your advice. I've sat with myself. I understand who I am, and I'm comfortable with this choice that I'm making for me. You may not like it, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
I know this is going to work for me, and I am going to be immensely happy from doing this. And
Yeah.
then you'll find that people will be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, Margaret actually is happier. Or Jason, you're actually happier. Maybe I got to do what you're doing. Tell me, what was it that you did again?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And you brought up something interesting, and that is, I think that, exercising, right? Like you kind of had mentioned it, and that also is like a muscle. Well, I'm not going to go to the gym and start lifting a pencil, right? Because that's not going to do a whole lot for me. So we have to treat it, you know, with a little bit more respect than than we probably give it credit that it needs, right?
Absolutely.
So, to get the weight, or to, get a little more buff or whatever it is that you're doing, you're not going to sit and curl a pencil all day because that's not going to do anything.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So we've got to, we really got to put the work in to get the result that we're looking for.
Absolutely. And you know what? Um, I have, and it's really, I'd say in this year, adopted what I like to call like flow language. And why I call it flow language is, in my experience, anytime I hear anything that has to do with work, I kind of shut down because I'm like, oh, it's not gonna be fun. It's not going to be fun. I don't want to do it. It's going to be work. So I've challenged myself. I'm looking out my window, even though it's like dark here, but I have a beautiful view of trees outside of my home. And so it allows me to really, like, kind of, be a voyeur in, in regards to nature, and like watch the flow, and there's no resistance in their existence. I didn't mean to rhyme there, but it just happened. There is no resistance in the existence of nature. And so words words play a huge role in how we choose to exercise things, right? Or how we choose to approach things or even unveil
Yeah.
things in our lives, right?
Yep.
So um I'm always cautious, and for people that provide me the permission to share my perspective, I'm always interested in figuring out, well, how, how can you reframe that statement, right? So if I say, um I want to I'm trying to find like a simple example here, but essentially what I'm trying to say here is that instead of saying, well, I don't want to look like that, I will say what I want to look like, because there's something in the atmosphere, spiritually, that picks up on every, it literally hangs on every word that drops out of your mouth. And I think that we fail to realize that every thought
Yeah.
and every word that comes out of our mouth is a form of prayer. And something in the universe is like, I'm about to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's what you said. And I'm running with it. Right.
Yeah.
So, because I've seen, like instant manifestations of those kinds of things in my life, I've decided that if I know what I don't want, I'm going to speak the what I want and make sure that I'm
Mm.
consistently speaking that. So let's use exercise for an example. 2 years ago, I was 20 pounds heavier. I didn't even recognize myself. One, because I was carrying a lot of um, just life, right?
Mm.
I was surviving, right? I was one of
Right. Right.
the people that we're talking about. Like I
Yep.
was just like, oh, get me to Friday, honey, and let me put this weekend away. Then I wake up on Monday and do it all over again. It was crazy, and my physical appearance showed that. And then I woke up and I was like, Margaret, this is not who you are. Who you are is much different than this. How do you get back to her? Or are you gonna is this gonna be a new version of her? I didn't know. What I did know is that I wanted to be 20 pounds lighter. What I did know is that I wanted to enjoy life. What
Yeah.
I did know was that I had the power to make this happen. I just needed, like just a little bit direction, right? And
Yeah.
so I sat and I asked for those things, and voila, here I am in all of my gorgeousness, all of my how amazing I look all the time. And it's because I have formulated a thought life and a, speech life that matches what I truly desire for myself. And that, when we talk about just exercising a muscle, that one can be a tough one to exercise, because
Yep.
we're so used to speaking negatively, or just, anything, even to ourselves, our self-talk, right? There's this rapper, and it's so funny, I love him, because in, like, his little kickback in almost all of his songs is talk to me nicely, and I'm like, yeah, talk to me nicely, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
and you have to remind yourself to do that. So I want to make sure that your audience knows, like, okay, yeah, it may not be easy, but guess what? Nobody gets to see this, exercise happening. So it's with you, but it is more so about just doing it. And whatever steps it takes, even if it's like envisioning yourself as whoever it is that you want to be, that's a huge step. Like, that's a huge weight to pick up and say that you now want to start doing some arm curls.
Yep.
But then for some of us, you may not be ready to jump all the way to that big,
Right.
heavy weight. So if it is as simple as 3 pounds, not a pencil, because I'm with Jason on that, not a pencil, but at least 3 pounds. 3 pounds can still do some damage.
Yeah.
And you keep moving, you'll find that, okay, pretty quickly you'll be over the 3 pounds, and then it's time to graduate to 5, and so on and so on and so on. So it doesn't happen overnight, but it could happen as quickly as you want it to happen. And
Yep.
that's another thing that I think we fail to realize is we put time frames, like we
Yeah.
throw ourselves into a time box, and it's like, who gave you those parameters?
Yeah.
anything can happen. I mean,
Yep.
we've seen that in the last 4 years in the United States.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Oh
If
yeah.
if our existence in the past 4 years is not evidence enough to you that you have some power and your faith behind your thought can change circumstances, then I don't know what other evidence you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your weight loss example is a great example of what Jason and I talk about a lot, is simply taking a step, doing action, doing something. So you woke up one day and said, yeah, I'm not really happy with who I am right now, but I can change that. I have the power to do that. I just have to take action. I have to do something.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great example. Margaret, you seem like a very busy person. What's something that you're most excited for in the future? What?
Ooh, what I am most excited for in the future is really just sharing more of my light with other people,
Mm.
and really specifically in terms of um, corporate America. I work in corporate America, and there's a lot of energy that exists. Some of the energy is energy that builds you up and gets you going, keeps you motivated. But most of the energy is the tearing down energy that just
Mm.
really,
Yep.
makes you not want to get up and come into work. So I'm most excited about introducing a leadership program for any corporation that will have me. I have a few that I'm targeting right now,
Awesome.
but a leadership development program, because it starts at the head, right? So
Yep.
Yeah.
every company identifies its high performers, and it's typically the high performers that they now push into leadership roles. So ensuring that your new to be or soon to be leaders are operating in a balanced and sustainable energetic mode will definitely trickle down to the rest of the organization. And so, again, I've learned that from personal experience, and I definitely want to share that ahead. But for the one-on-one sessions, I'm most excited about sharing some assessments. I have a Clifton Strengths Finders assessment. I like to call it the personality pivot, and it really just helps you, like, if you've been in a rut and you know something new has to happen, but you are perhaps just lost in terms of not really understanding who you are, and how you're showing up. I think taking the personality pivot would be something that would really help you get started on the right foot. The other pivot that I have is what I call the mindset pivot. And this is all about energy. We've talked about energy a lot of times here already. But again, sustainable energy versus non sustainable energy, it shows up in our lives all the time. And so this particular assessment walks you through how you're showing up energetically, like what you look like when nobody's pissing you off, and then what you look like when a stressor
Yeah.
enters into the picture. And
Yep.
that's where we fall apart, right? And so when you've got some intel on what your stressors are or how you show up when a stressor appears, you'll be able to have more of that sustainable energy in your life, because you're like, not today. Not gonna
Yeah.
get me today.
Yeah, that's awesome. It kind of brought something to my brain right there as you were kind of talking, and that is, I fly helicopters, or I used to fly helicopters a lot, and helicopters and airplanes fly because of resistance, air resistance. That's the whole reason why they fly. And so, as you were kind of talking, it reminded me that we all need resistance in life to grow, right? Like we can't we have to have that resistance to get moving, to progress, to do the things that we need to, right? And even like you said, even if it's the 3 pound weight we start with, at least it's resistance and it's not a pencil, right? Like that's not going to do anything.
I'm over here like jumping and shouting for joy because, like, I literally had this conversation with my sister the other day. And what you just said, I love how you summed it up, and I love the example that you use, because we forget pain is inevitable, right? But the
Yep.
suffering is optional. That's one of the foundational principles from the coaching program that I went through. And That resistance, like you said, that we need, I would liken that to pain. When you
Mm,
grow, there's going to be some pain. It's just going to happen. It happens. I like, okay, your teeth for the, when you were a kid and you were about to lose your teeth and, you had that one tooth that's just hanging and it like, heck, and you're like, why won't you just drop out? Right. But you knew as soon as it left, a whole brand new tooth was like, you knew that, like you
yeah.
didn't, there was no argument about that. A new tooth is going to replace it. That's how our life is. To your point, Jason, I love that. Like our life, there's going to be pain. When you feel the pain, know that whatever you asked for is on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's how it would flip the resistance, because for us in our life, what we try to do is we try to resist those painful experiences. We're like, oh my God, I don't want that. Or like, the person's like, yeah, I'm going to the gym, but I'm only lifting pencils, and what's going on? You're not going to get what you want. But we constantly find ourselves trying to resist the pain because perhaps where we are right now is comfortable, but we forget that we asked for more. And in order to get to the more, there's going to be a shift, and that shift is going to create momentary pain,
Yeah.
not lifelong pain, but literally as soon as you recognize, oh, this is a part of the shift, the pain sensation actually dissipates. It goes away. And you're just like,
Yeah.
what was I freaking out about again? Oh, nothing. Okay, great. But 9 times out of 10, for those of us that are in the survival mode, all we feel is pain. And we're just like, why did this happen to me? My life is horrible. And it's just like, whoa, this happened because you called it forth. And if you would perhaps just shift your perspective just a little bit to see the thing that you asked for actually coming into existence, then you can relax. And you will, and your life and all of your desires and everything that you've asked for will calmly flow towards you.
Yeah. I love it. Love it. It's awesome. I love
And
this stuff.
yeah,
I'm enjoying talking to y'all. I mean, and I love when you have those examples and then it just lights something else off of me. And this is how, so prior to my current role, I was a medical science liaison. And so I would go and talk to doctors and give presentations about medical stuff. And I would always say, I feed off of your energy. So you got to come to the table with energy. Whatever you come with, it's just gonna light me up. And so this kind of is reminding me of that. Like you're coming with it's good stuff and we're bouncing good information off of each other.
Yeah,
yep.
absolutely. That's totally how it works. I love when people are full of energy in life. I mean, that's me, and I'm the same way. I feed off of that.
Yeah.
So I love when we have guests that really bring a lot of energy and light to the conversation, because I think it just is. Yeah, there you go. It's a party, right?
We're
So
learning.
now you just hit, see, so this is what I'm talking about. You just hit another key point. Someone asked me recently, like, what is it what if there's like one thing that you would say to anybody, what would you tell them? And I would say keep it light.
Yeah,
Like find ways to stay light, like happy. If the moment the situation starts getting heavy, you've killed it, or you've killed it. It's dead, and it's hard to revive. So if you're in this happy space, the idea is to figure out, how do you keep that momentum going? And you're not always going to be in a happy, so like keeping it light is not like going from, 5 days worth of, just being depressed and super, super down to like, yes, I want to go party. Keeping
yeah,
it light is about, okay, this happened, but I'm not dead. I'm
Yeah.
still
yeah,
living. Okay, great. I'm still here. Or, you your boss sends you a nasty gram. If you have a pet, keeping it light is turning to your pet and allowing your pet to distract you, finding some distraction that allows your mind to release itself from whatever is creating a momentary stressor. Keeping it light is about constantly looking for that opportunity of relief. in your life and whatever that looks like.
Yeah. And I did not mean for this light to shine like right through my head, but
Looks like a celestial
There it
being.
is.
but here it is. Here's my light and I'm
Yeah.
shining it.
I love
What I
it.
was thinking while you were saying that was, I think often too many of us take life too serious, and we don't. We just need to sometimes take a step back and make it light, like you're saying, and just say, you know what, life, it's meant to be rewarded and exciting, and all of those things. And I think sometimes we just get too caught up in life, and we take it too serious. So we have to just take a step back and just be happy and party and
You know what,
have
Shane?
light shine right through our head and
Yes, you
things like
said it.
that.
You're right on point, Shane. It's just take a step back,
Yeah.
relax. I used to be one of those people that took life too seriously. Like my little sister used to refer to me as a robot. She said we have no feelings. Like we can't. Like what program are you on right now? Because
Yeah.
I would come in the room and or like if she wasn't calling me robot, she would call me sister soldier, which I think is hilarious. Because it's completely opposite of who I am. I wasn't having fun, right? So
Yeah.
that's why, like,
Right.
I was so serious. It's like I gotta hit this deadline. I got this life to live, and this is how I want my. And it's like if you actually like loosened up a little bit, everything that you want will find you
Yep.
Yeah.
as opposed to you going out there killing yourself trying to find it, then being hurt when you hit a setback because you it didn't happen the specific way that you wanted it to because you're so attached to this outcome. I love music, so I'm gonna quote another rapper, Jay-Z, and he says there are a million ways to get it. And that never like I never really understood that until I don't know, maybe 3 or so years ago. And I was like, whoa, like we have so many life strings that we can pull at any given time that will still get us to where we're supposed to be if
Yep.
we release our resistance and actually just go with the flow. But every time we're like, no, it's got to happen like this, and this is how it's supposed to be, and yada yada yada, and time frames and boxes, we lose big time, and then we get upset with everybody else, and it's just like check yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding, right?
I thought you were setting us up to sing.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought you were going to sing for us, but we missed that. So
Well,
we love singing, we love music, but we don't really sing.
Yeah.
what's your favorite song right now? I might could sing. I'm not making it.
I might sing.
Oh, I like the old stuff, so I don't know. I'm kind of I don't know, maybe I was born in the wrong era or something, but I love old time,
No
music and stuff like that. So, but
problem.
yeah, I love music.
Song that's actually coming to my mind right now, and it's so strange. I think it's a Linkin Park song. I'm not gonna do it justice off the chain, but "Wake Me Up Inside." That's all I got for you.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
like it.
Great.
You have a way better voice than I do.
For
So,
sure.
Thank you. I can't remember all the lyrics, but I do remember that song. And it's so, again, I love music because I feel like we underestimate the scriptural context that a lot of these songs possess for us. So sometimes we'll just listen to it for the beat, but these people are actually like preaching to us all the
Yeah.
time
yeah.
about,
Yeah.
like real life stuff. And that song in particular about wake me up and say, I'm already. Oh gosh, I hate that I hate that I can't remember all the lyrics to that song, but I love lyrics because again, like I said, I look at them as scripture, and I'm like, wow, this person has they're singing their pain, but what is there to learn from what they're saying? What is the wisdom behind what they're sharing? And yeah,
There's a
sorry.
lot that we can learn. I love it. I love talking about music. Me and Shane, we love music and we love talking about it. So,
Same
yeah.
here. Same here. I love because music clearly brings us all together. It
Yep.
heals
Yep.
us. It can motivate us. And if again, if we, depending on where you are in life at any situation, it could literally help you pivot towards your next best move. And yeah,
Absolutely. I think it tears walls down too, right? Like we tend to build these walls up or put ourselves in a box, and
yeah.
music can rip those walls down. And, even language, right? Like if there's a language barrier or whatever.
Yes, 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 yes. I mean, and
So,
music is a beautiful thing. Now, when you say that, it reminds me of a Bob Marley song, and he was like, "Hit me with music," and he was like, "If you hit me with music, because I'll feel no pain."
yeah.
And that's so beautiful. Like we, you know,
Yeah.
if you want
Yeah.
to, if you want to commit a crime, hit me with music. Don't hit me with anything.
Yeah, there you go. So, Margaret, we're at a point where me and Shane like to refer to this as the double
Double
down
down dose.
dose. So it's the double
Ooh.
down dose. And so what it is me and Shane have a question each for you, two questions. And so the first question kind of ties back to our podcast, which is called Sprinkle with Hope. And so what does hope mean to you? And what would you say about hope?
Oh my goodness. Hope is everything that your heart desires, and the belief that it's actually going to happen. That is
Mm,
hope, right? I think a lot of us, um, we want things to happen, but we don't actually believe that they're going to happen. So when you throw a bit of hope on there, you actually are co-signing. You're like, "Yep, it's going to happen. I'm hoping it. I'm believing it." Like those hope and belief are almost interchangeable for me.
I love it.
Love it. Love that insight. You've had some amazing insight. The second part of Double Down Dose is, you ready for this?
I hope so.
How would you define love and what does love mean to you?
Oh, that's so fun. And it's so funny because I just talked about the love walk, right? So,
Yeah, you did.
oh man. Oh, wow. Love is so many things. So give me a second to kind of
Yeah, of course.
distill it.
Yeah.
um, so I would, oh, okay. All right. What's hitting me internally is like love is the strongest force of energy that each and every single one of us has the ability to utilize. Love is transformative.
Mm,
It is hopeful for sure. It's healing. It's honest,
yeah.
right? Um, it's unassuming,
Mm, I
and
love
most
that.
importantly, and it's probably like unassuming and non-judgmental, probably very, very close, but I think it's important to say that there's no judgment when there's real love in the room, right? And it's funny because I would um, say, when I would see things happening, and I say that's not love. I would say this is not love, and here's why. I think that very last word of just non-judgmental is the most important aspect of love, because when true love, regardless of the form that it's being displayed in, is in the room, there is no like you literally feel seen
Hmm.
when love is
Yeah.
right. Like nobody feels less than when love is in the room. So
Yeah.
that's my answer.
That's
Good.
awesome.
We love asking those questions because often I think we hear about hope and we think about love, but we don't actually think about it in the sense that what does it mean to us? And we get such great answers to those questions that people sometimes are like, wait, that's a hard question, and you wouldn't think that what does love mean to you is a hard question, but it kind of makes you think on a different level, and that's what we're getting at, is that we just want to see what Margaret feels and thinks and all of those things. So
I
We really appreciate your time with us. I've had a fantastic time and great insight that you've given to us and our listeners.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it. Thank you for asking me that question because that really, I'm still actually I'm embarking right now because wow, that was a powerful, both of the questions are powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we like asking them. I think in part because it's what me and Shane stand for. We think the world needs more hope and love, and so we like to ask those two questions because we feel like it gets at to the heart of what it is that you think, right? And how to help and share that, right, to others, and be that light to somebody who may be in darkness. And so
Absolutely.
we yeah. So thank you so much for your answers. I really enjoyed this, Margaret, and thank you for joining us. I'm glad we finally got to get it together, and because it's taken us a while. So
It's all good. Look, the time is always now. We were not late. We're right
Yep.
on time, and I'm
yeah,
a firm believer of that. So this was just as enjoyable for me as you all have expressed. I share your sentiments, and thank you for giving me like an awesome start to my Friday night.
for sure.